My name is Anne Graham. I'm the founder and president of MIB Agents. MIB Agents makes it better, MIB, for kids who are in active treatment for osteosarcoma. Osteosarcoma is a primary bone cancer that affects children aged 10 to 20. It turned out that I had osteosarcoma in my proximal tibia. Osteosarcoma patients go through the most grueling chemotherapy regimens of all cancers. Of course, I was 43 at the time, and I really couldn't complain because there were 10-year-olds going through the same grueling chemotherapy that I was going through. While I was in treatment, there was a 10-year-old girl named Alyssa who was being treated for osteosarcoma, and we were tracking at the same time. We had our surgeries at the same time. We had the same round of chemotherapy at the same time. It was our last day of chemotherapy. She found a lump on her leg, and now because she had a recurrence in her leg, she had to be amputated. Her mom called me and said, they're sending her home to die. They have no more treatments for her. With more force in my voice than I expected to have, I said, no, she can't just go home and die. She has to live. And her theme was Live, Alyssa, Live. And I said, now's the time. So we ended up calling many friends and asked if they could help us make it better for Alyssa in the time that she had left. Alyssa was a dancer. She was now an amputee dancer, but still loved to dance. So we did a 3-day experience in New York City. We had a beautiful hotel lined up for them. We did Rockettes backstage, front row. The next night we did Mary Poppins on Broadway. And they also had dinner at the American Girl doll store on Fifth Avenue, and American Girl doll was amazing. They gave her a doll that looked like her with no hair. Third night was Nutcracker at Lincoln Center, and at the end of the Nutcracker, they let her dance across the stage, and she lived life in those few days, and she died 2 weeks later.
Did you know that 7 children will die today of childhood cancers? I know since there's 7 billion people, it doesn't seem a whole lot, but really if you think about it, that's 7 families that loses a loved one. That's, if they have siblings, that's at least 7 siblings that lose their best friend. And I know how that feels like, and I don't want anyone to go through that again.
The missions kept coming, and with the help of friends and family, the missions were accomplished. MIB Agents is a 100% volunteer, nationwide nonprofit organization dedicated to the mission to make it better for children with osteosarcoma.
MIB Agents does 4 things. The goal, of course, is to make it better for kids who are suffering with osteosarcoma. The first thing we do is we pair a child who's in active treatment with a survivor of osteosarcoma. And that child connects with the child in treatment, writes letters, emails of hope and support. The second thing we do is we provide items of comfort and entertainment for kids who are in treatment. This means iTunes cards, iPads, noise-canceling headphones, things like that, whatever they need to get through a minimum of 9 months in a hospital bed and wheelchair. The third thing we do is we call it walking them home. When treatment options have failed and a child is sent home on hospice, we contact the family and we ask what would your child like to do? What would your child like to experience? Or what would your child like to have? And we make those things happen. The fourth thing we do is we put on an annual conference, which is called the Factor Conference. And it's unique in that it's the only medical research conference that involves the patients, the patient families, nonprofits, the top doctors and researchers in the world. And we all come together and try to figure out how can we make it better for osteosarcoma patients today and to come. This is really difficult to look at. And before I had pediatric cancer, I remember watching commercials for pediatric cancer centers and seeing bouncy, happy, bald kids and going, great, this is covered and I don't have to worry about it. It's not covered.
Less than 4% of the annual budget of the National Institutes of Health is spent on pediatric cancer research. There have been no new treatments for osteosarcoma in 40 years. The time for change is now. As Anne would say, know better, do better. In the end, we all know that we must do better for all our children suffering from osteosarcoma.
Not doing this work is akin to leaving a man behind on a field of battle. You can't do it. You know there's the suffering, and you know there's something you can do to help.